Welcome to another Demarcation Media Mega Construx review. Today we are going to be taking a look at some more customs. But this time, I decided, it's about time that I showed off some of my own customs. Now, I am by no means a master painter. I've looked at some far more just absolutely masterful pieces of work on this channel so far. But let's see, I've looked at customs by JKT Customs, Mega Blix, G Customs Creations, Flustered, ODST Animations, and I feel like I'm forgetting one or two. But I decided it was about time that I reviewed some of my own customs. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I have 6 of my favorite customs here, and we are going to go through them one by one, starting with this dude in the middle. So this guy right here is a Spartan Enforcer. He was originally from the Fireteam Crimson set. I got him in a big lot of figures and parts that I got off of Goodwill a while back. And he was one of my first customs. I think there was one other dude that I painted before this guy, and that one did not turn out nearly as well. But I painted this guy using a couple paint brushes, some kind of cheap brown paint, and safety pins, actually. And I just decided, I want a kind of low contrast paint job. So I just painted brown onto some of the panels that are already there. So you can see there's some brown here. There's brown on the head. Now, I'll admit the head is not the best. There's no paint run over, but I used some sealer that made it kind of sticky. And so it's a little on the rough side. It's not that sticky anymore, but you do have to be careful when sealing Mega Construx heads. You can see my paint style is that I like to pick out details that are already there on the figure and paint those. Use those as my guidelines. So you can see around the wrist, on the shoulder armor, all up here, around the back of the head, around the back of the armor itself, and also on the magnum. That's my paint style. I like to take the figures and paint the details that are already there, make them stand out a little bit more, and then I will usually seal them with a matte coat to keep the paint from running, or not running, what am I saying? To keep the paint from scratching. That's kind of my standard way of doing things. Now, for this being one of my first customs, honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. I personally think it looks pretty nice. There's no real major paint flaws. It all kind of stays on there. The paint is pretty even. It doesn't look real lumpy. It's an understated color scheme because of how close the base color is to the paint, but that was my goal, and I think it's pretty cool. This guy, I think originally when I made him, his name was Asus. Spartan Asus. Alrighty, so these two right here were originally, I think they're from Fireteam Taurus, and I think I got them from JKT Customs, just unpainted. And I had gotten some new paints, some Model Master paints, and I decided I wanted to see what I could do with them. Oh, and I had some Gundam panel liner markers. Those will be kind of important to note. So I took my orange, because orange and green is a great combination, and just decided to paint up as many small details on these guys as I possibly could. Now, the visors for both of them are painted silver. The soldiers is so thin you can barely see it, and the silver is a little translucent there. That was not the best part of the soldier. But the scout, that is a painted visor. I did that with a paintbrush. Actually, wait, I might have done that with a paint pen. No, there's no way I did it with a paint pen. It was definitely with a paintbrush. And then the dark sections on the sides of the face and on the top were done with a panel liner marker. Same with the stripe here and all the little extra dark details. I liked this project a lot, actually. I had a really good time painting these dudes up, just because there's a lot of detail on these Halo 4 armors. Look, there's so much to bring out, and I could just kind of go wild with making all the different details pop out, and it turned out looking very nice. Very, very nice, in my opinion. Now, I probably do sound a little bit egotistical here just because I am reviewing my own customs. but I do really like how these guys turned out. The soldier, the chest plate in particular, I really liked that. The shoulder armors, the sides of the head, the stripe on the middle, all that going around the back. These guys earned the name Strike Team Autumn because of their color schemes, and they're not really a full fire team. They're just a strike team. Now, actually looking at it right here, it looks like this dude's hand has the wobbling issue, which I did not notice that back when I started collecting, and now I'm realizing I have more figures with that issue than I would like. And these guys also suffered from the sticky head problem. I used the wrong kind of sealer, and I'm still trying to figure that out, but I kind of got their heads cleaned up and looking decent. But yeah, these guys, in terms of their like colors and whatnot, are still some of my favorite pieces. This next guy is what I like to think of as Shadow Chief. You know how Samus has Dark Samus and Link has Dark Link? This is like Dark Chief. It's basically just Chief, but with all Spec Ops colors, kind of. So this was originally the Arena Champions pack, Mark, whatever this is, Mark 4 mod or whatever. And I decided, this would look great with some black and a visor outline. So that visor outline was done with I think I used a Gundam panel liner pen and some black paint to do that visor outline, which came out as one of my best visor outlines so far. And then I just did, very much like Ace's, a very understated, low contrast color scheme. Just some black here, some black there, kind of picking up some of the details. You can see like it goes down on that shaped section. I can't speak at the moment. Stripe on the top, some on the back, some down here. This paint, I think, was just your standard acrylic, the kind of cheap apple barrel stuff, and it just worked really, really well. I don't know why, but it all laid really nice and flat, and then the sealer made the whole thing just come together and look super, super nice. So this guy is like, well, I said at the beginning of this video, this is a selection of my favorite customs. I have some others that are more simple, like just matte coat, and some that are not as great, and then some that are still a work in progress. But this guy, still, I don't know exactly, but he might be my favorite out of this whole lineup, just because of how clean he looks. That visor outline, I don't know if I could replicate that, honestly. This dude right here has been called the Borderlands Spartan by some of the people that I've shown it to. And I gotta admit, he definitely does have a little bit of a Borderlands color scheme, but that was not my intention when I was painting him. Again, I just get figures, I look at them and I go, what details that are already on this figure do I want to make stand out? So this was one of the blind bag CE figures. So there was absolutely no paint anywhere except for the visor. So I did the visor outline. That's a panel liner pen again. I painted up the pouches here, panel lined under here, did all of the gray, did a little bill here gray. I painted the back of the head with the, what even is that section? Like the part that's like almost a joint, and then did all of the gray. I did some more of the dark gray here, gave him kind of like a sole onto his boots. There's a little bit of gray on the Magnum as well as some panel lining. I panel lined some more here. And then I decided to try a Gundam weathering technique where you take a sponge brush and kind of dab the edges on this guy. And I think it came out pretty cool. It looks almost like burn marks. And it made this very bland yellow look way more interesting and like actually a reasonable color choice. Another thing I try to do in my customs is go for durability. So this guy theoretically should not have any problem posing, and he shouldn't have any like rubbing of paint anywhere. I usually will make absolutely sure that there's not going to be any sort of paint rubbing in the slightest, because I like being able to pick up my figures, put them in a bag, take them with me when I'm going out somewhere, and then take photos. I don't want to have to worry about scratching the paint too much, so I just try and paint the sections that won't really be affected by lots of heavy posing. Now, this guy right here, we have a Hellbringer. This is from the Marine like weapons pack, customizer pack or whatever from the Halo 4 line. This guy is interesting. So when I got him, I think it was his whole arm right here didn't fit. So like it wouldn't plug into the torso or whatever. There was something wrong with the peg. So I asked for a replacement figure and they sent me a replacement figure. And then I had this guy that he was missing an arm and was just going to sit there. So I grabbed an extra arm that I had, gave him kind of an asymmetrical look with a gray arm and then a part gray and green arm, and then just went absolutely wild with painting him. Technically, this guy is still a work in progress because I still haven't finished painting his flamethrower, but I was just adding some simple yellow details. So I did some silver on here, some gray, well actually a lot of gray, you can see on here, all this, a lot on the collar, a lot on the chest, and then I did some yellow highlights. I painted the piping here with the gray, and I painted some on the helmet around the edges. And then I did the same kind of Gundam weathering technique with both brown and black this time. And then on the chest here, like, I tried something a little different. You're probably looking at this and going, wow, that's a really good paint job. Well, that's not a paint job. I had a Lego sticker sheet that was made, it was just supposed to let you it was supposed to let you just customize your own thing. I think it was from Ninjago. And I took it and I trimmed it down so it was just the skull, stuck it on there, glued it on there, and then painted over the edges all the way up to the edges of the skull. And so now, if you do that, you can see the edges of the sticker, but if you look at it like that, it's just a skull. So I think I came out pretty well. I may try that kind of sticker technique again in the future. But yeah, he stands out a lot because he's the only guy that really has detail like that skull. This guy also slightly breaks the rule of keeping paint away from areas that it could scratch, because the chin definitely could scratch going up and down like that on the collar because of how it limits the articulation and rubs. But it kind of was necessary. I really wanted to paint that section. So yeah, this guy is very unique in my lineup of customs, mainly because of that sticker. And then here is my most recent custom. I don't think I've painted a guy any sooner than this. This guy has been, he's been made for a couple months now. I originally got the orange Spartan from a Discord user named Bingus. You may remember the haul video that he came in. The back plate for this dude was like a bright orange, and I didn't have the replacement, so I just took him apart, and then I had an extra blue Mark 7 from the blind bags, and I said, you know what? That helmet, what is that? That's Recon, Halo 4 Recon. It looks really good paired with the Mark 7 chestplate, because the Mark 7 chestplate's so sleek, and blue and orange is just fantastic. So I went ahead, pop and swapped, and then added some light gray detailing. Let's see that. All the light gray sections I just painted on. The helmet's visor was standard. All the black there was standard. I just added all of the gray detail. See, like that. And then I did something different. I had just made a wash out of, I think it was floor polish, some shoe polish, and brown paint. I mixed it all up and it looked really nice. So I just washed that over the whole figure, gets into the cracks and crevices. It kind of muted the colors, blended them together. Then I did a matte coat over the whole thing. I still did manage to end up with a little bit of the sticky head problem. I think it's Mod Podge, because I use Mod Podge a lot, and I think that's what does it, so I might need to stop doing that. It just kind of adds some nice depth, so I keep trying it, hoping that it doesn't make the head sticky, and then it does, and then dust sticks to it. But this guy was not too bad, and he came out looking really nice, in my opinion. Very understated painting. I didn't do a ton. but just enough to make him pop a little bit. And then I did a AR paint. Very simple, just some gray. And then I decided to do brown for the piece back here and then the grip to make it look almost like an old machine gun. And that came out looking pretty nice as well. I did that with, that was Model Master paint. The brown was just like apple barrel paint. And then the whole thing was done over with a matte top coat. And that is his designated weapon. Basically my own custom Halo hero. Well, there you have it. That is 7 of my best customs. My favorite, I think, is definitely going to have to be the new one with the Dark Chief being a very, very, very close second. And I definitely need to paint some more soon. I just have been so busy doing videos and comparisons that I haven't done any painting. Oh, and Gundam painting. That's kind of been all my painting of late is Gundams. I've been painting a lot of Gundams. So there we go. That is my extent of paint work. Again, not super complicated. I just like taking the details that are already there and making them pop a little bit more. I may try a more full paint at some point in the future, but for now, I'll just stick to this because, like I said, durability is kind of my main goal. I want to be able to take these guys, pose them a lot, put them out in the dirt, and not have them be scratched and stuff like that. So durability is my main goal, which is why I keep the paintwork simple. And you can do a lot with just painting the detail that's there, not necessarily doing the whole figure, just little touch-ups here and there, and they can look absolutely fantastic with only a little bit of work. So if you haven't painted any figures, I highly recommend you try doing this because it's a lot of fun, it's pretty easy, and all you need is a paintbrush, some paint, and some sealer, and you're good to go. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.